Hello everybody, welcome to this video of myself and Mr. Alistair Penman. We are back today to talk about Alto Sax mouthpieces, specifically good quality student Alto Sax mouthpieces. And I suppose what do we mean by that is there's a myriad of mouthpieces out there on the market that cost lots of money for when you're upgrading. But then there are some which aren't horrifically expensive, so I'm talking between sort of £25 English and £60 English, which might be better for when you're in those early years and starting out. So, I mean, you teach as well, Alistair is playing. How important is it to have a decent mouthpiece when you start, and B, how problematic is it when you don't? Because you must see that sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's hugely important to have a good mouthpiece when you're starting out. Also, often people will get excited and go and buy a top-end mouthpiece kind of straight away, which also that can sometimes be counterproductive. So these student mouthpieces are usually designed to be fairly easy to get started on, to be really good to kind of build a foundation to your technique on. And then when you've got to a certain level, you might want to go and try the options. And at that point, you kind of know enough to go and try them out, see what you like the feel of, know which direction you're going to go playing-wise, kind of more classical, jazz, pop. But yeah, it's really important to start on a good quality mouthpiece.
And I suppose, you know, an obvious thing would be, well, how do they differ? And in very simple terms, because that's a whole big topic, but the material can differ between plastic and ebonite, which is a hard rubber, and you can also get metal mouthpieces as well. I wouldn't, if you're a beginner, go anywhere near a metal mouthpiece yet. It's sort of like putting a learner driver in a Lamborghini or something. It's only going to end in tears. But also things like the facing, so the facing curve, the length of the facing, the tip rails, the balance of the tip rails, and inside is the chamber, which is the inner part of the mouthpiece. That can be larger, smaller, round, square, circular, it can be different shapes. And so all these things, once you get up into the professional quality ones, can be modified and changed to make a particular sound or help you towards a particular style maybe, or it's kind of the right thing, isn't it? But as Alistair says at the beginning, the student mouthpieces are fundamentally designed to help someone with potentially a weaker embouchure, because you're still learning, to make a sound more easily and to make a good sound and a consistent intonation and everything else. So there is a reason to have a good student mouthpiece when you're a student. It's the right thing to be on. So let's get to the actual test for today, which is 3 student mouthpieces. We've got 2 by Windcraft, which is the brand that Dawkes actually created 50, 60 years ago now. These are made in the United States, the Windcraft mouthpieces, by Babbitt, who is the company that make Ottolink, Mayer, and lots of other nice mouthpieces. And we've got a plastic one with us, which is around £25, and we've got an ebonite one, so the hard rubber, which is around £60. And in between that, we've got what is probably, it's the classic, isn't it? It's the Yamaha 4C, which you must see people having everywhere.
I mean, this is what I've been recommending to my students ever since I started teaching, pretty much. It's kind of the default go-to great student mouthpiece. So it'll be really interesting to see how it compares with the new competitors in Windcraft.
Excellent. Well, we'll be right back and we'll give you a play test on each one, back after back. You can listen to them and then we'll have a chat about our thoughts about all 3 of them after that as well. Okay, so that's all 3 mouthpieces. It's just little snippets. Obviously, the first part of what Alistair was playing is actually from a grade 5 level piece on saxophone called Paradise Ballroom. And the second, obviously, just a little jazzier. We just want to give you a little taste for how these mouthpieces sound in those circumstances. I should say as well, actually, the Yamaha is available in a variety of tip openings. So that means the gap between the reed and the tip of the mouthpiece gets bigger, the larger the number goes up. The common one for starting out and in the first couple of years is the 4C, I think, on alto. I would primarily say that. And there's 3C up to 7C, but 4C is where the action normally is. And the Windcrafts are a set tip opening. The student one is equivalent to a 4C. It's a little bit more open actually in size. And the ebonite one is based on a Mayer number 5 in their G series. The design is very similar to that, the chamber and the facing as well. So, tech out the way. Sorry, Alistair, boring session there. What do you feel, because I certainly heard some differences in the sound, what do you feel from a playing and a tonal point of view?
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear that the Windcraft is based on a Mayer, because for me the big difference is the Yamaha has this kind of really lovely kind of smooth, soft sound, very easy to play, kind of really suited to classical music. Whereas for me, the Windcraft ones are quite a lot brighter actually, and they've got a lot more ping to it, particularly kind of when you're playing jazzier stuff. They've got a lot more edge to them, a lot more bite. So they're kind of almost for different purposes. So you might kind of depend on what route you think you're playing might go down. So I would say, I mean, all of these mouthpieces are great all-rounders to start on, but the Yamaha, if you want a kind of very pure sound, I would say the Yamaha is probably the one to start with. And it's probably the easiest to play as well, I would say. Whereas the Windcrafts, if you know you're going to go down a route where you're going to want to play some jazzier, poppier, funkier stuff, then even with these student mouthpieces, you can get that kind of more bite for it, more brightness, and actually just more volume as well. Is kind of what I would say. Yeah, I'm thinking of those.
And technically, we're using a Van Doren Strength 3 standard blue box reed, and obviously your choice of reeds will affect how the mouthpiece plays and reacts as well. So we tried to just keep it consistent for the test so you can hear the variation. And also we tried to use a reed that we think people maybe at that level, you might be playing a 3 or maybe a 2.5 still at that point. So hopefully that gives you some idea about the sounds. I think if you are planning on trying, it's really important if you can get to actually test a couple of different things, and obviously we offer that at Dawkes through our mail order, or if you can come into the store. And any one of these could probably help, but it may depend, as Alistair's alluded to, where you're trying to go a little bit with your playing. The final point I just wanted to make is, as kind of we alluded to at the beginning, I see, especially here at the shop, when people bring things in for repairs or when they make their first upgrade, I see so many people using really terrible mouthpieces that came with their student outfit off eBay or wherever it might be. Now that's okay, because it's all cost related, but I think even if you're tight on a budget, putting a Yamaha 4C on any saxophone, if you've been on a really not great student mouthpiece, it's going to improve it, isn't it? I mean, it's going to feel better for you, and it's going to be more in tune, and the sound's going to be better.
Definitely. I mean, it's amazing what difference putting a student mouthpiece like these, the Yamaha or the Windcraft, on a sax can make if you have been playing on kind of one of these cheaper beginner saxes that come with a mouthpiece that is not great quality. This is a really kind of cost-effective way of making a big difference to the sound.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, thank you very much, Alistair. Always nice to hear how great a saxophone can sound, even with a very affordable mouthpiece on. Nothing to do with your years of practice and hard work. It's all the mouthpiece, everybody. But we'll be back very soon with more videos. Thank you for watching. Stay subscribed, and we'll speak to you again very soon.